Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It was about a year ago, following the tragic mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, that Academy Award-winning actor Matthew McConaughey pushed for new gun legislation in Washington. That bill passed with bipartisan support and allocated billions of dollars to make schools safer.
And now McConaughey, who is from Uvalde, and his wife Camila are announcing a new program to help schools access that funding. Joining us to discuss this all is Matthew McConaughey himself. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good to see you.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
So talk us through what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, with the Greelights Grant Initiative, you said it's access, it's connection from the districts, the school districts that need this money, that need to safen their schools through security upgrades and mental health counseling. The money's there in this bill, the Bipartisan Safe Communities Act that was passed a year ago. There's billions of dollars there. The problem is so many of these districts cannot access it or are having trouble applying for. Superintendents that have to do this at each school, they're wearing 3 hats. They don't have the time, they don't have the competence or the expertise. Maybe the district doesn't have the money. It can be up to $50,000 to get a grant writer to write one of these grants. So there's not enough applications. And what the Greelights Grant Initiative does is we streamline that process for these school districts to fill out those applications. We have grant writers on staff that will be writing some grants for the highest risk schools. We have on this website small tutorials with grant writers to show you how to write the grant, which grants to apply for, because it's a competitive process. Not every grant is awarded. And you've got to write a good grant and the right grant and make a good argument why you need that grant to the government to get that money. And that's what we're going to help you do.
Matthew, talk to us about how the schools will use that grant money to help keep students safer.
Talk about how it keeps schools safer?
How schools will use the grant money to keep the students safer.
It's on two fronts. Basically, the grants cover 2 things. It's security upgrades. That can be threat assessment. That can be a physical upgrade like metal detectors. That can be a panic button. That can be streamlined communication with local law enforcement. And it's also mental health counselors. We've talked to some schools that have 1 mental health counselor per 2,500 students.
Wow.
That's too wide of a gap. We need more counselors per student than that. And so it's also after school programs. But that's the 2 main areas, is the mental health and the actual physical safening of the schools and understanding threat assessments so the staff and the local law enforcement can communicate quicker and more clearly if they need to.
You mentioned the access to funding. There's an expiration date on these funds. Are you worried that all the red tape that you have to go through to get this money will keep schools from being able to access the money that they need?
Well, that's one of the reasons that we started the Greelights Grant Initiative. It is so much red tape, and this money is use it or lose it. If this money's not allocated, all right, into the school districts that need it, by 2026, 2 years from now, it can be redistributed, reauthorized somewhere else. And this legendary bill that was passed, in some ways, would only be symbolic. And we don't want that to happen. I don't think anybody wants that to happen. So we streamline that process for you. We cut through a lot of that red tape. And trust me, the federal government and these agencies, they agree. It's too much red tape. They agree. It's complicated. We have a congressional advisory board of bipartisan senators and congressmen and women on our board that are sitting over there going, yes, it is too difficult. Thank you for helping us streamline this process. The hope is people go to the Greelights Grant Initiative and find the resources to communicate clearly with the federal agencies, and that relationship will be started. All right, it'll be much easier. Hopefully we're not needed in a few years. But if we use this money now well, all right, and responsibly, which we can, the government will see that there's a demand for these dollars. And then not only will we spend the money, hopefully, we can refund the act and the bill later instead of losing the money.
And you went back to your hometown after last year's shooting. How did that experience shape this new initiative?
That was the genesis. That was the heart before the head of any of this. You know, when we left, Camila and I left, the parents and the teachers, the one line that kept coming up as we were leaving was, can you please help make their lives matter? the lost ones. This, a year later, is a step in that direction. This initiative is a step in that direction. It's not the end-all solution. It's not the final out. It doesn't solve everything, but it is a step in the direction of making their lives matter.
I have to ask, why take this on? This isn't the thing that you normally do. Why did you decide you had to do something here?
Well, if you go, when Uvalde hit, and the Uvalde tragedy happened, and Camila and I pulled out the driveway, we both, before I got on the highway to drive down Uvalde, we looked at each other, and without saying a word, we both understood that it was not a one-way ticket we were taking to Uvalde. I mean, and plus these tragedies keep happening. All right, they're in our face all the time, America's face all the time. When I found out numbers, like here we are a year later, and I find out that in 2022, one of the most common security grants that's available, all right, that 400 districts had even applied out of 14,000 school districts in America. Only 400 have applied. Less than 3% have even applied. I go, whoa, there's a gap there. That math does not add up. Nobody wants that low. Forget retention. That's just even applications. Mind you, once you apply, you have to get approved. So we said, where's the problem? And we found a communication gap. We found a crooked line to get these applications in, and we're trying to make that crooked line straight and streamline it so it is simpler, which it should be.
All right, Matthew, thank you, and good to see you as well.
Hey, good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news, weather, and so much more by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below. And once again, thanks for watching KSAT.